The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone. We're going to give everyone an additional couple of minutes to get logged in. If you are noticing you're having some problems with the GoToWebinar format, you'll probably have to download the program again. So we're going to give everyone an additional couple minutes here to get started, and then we'll begin. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on how to increase the strategic value in your email marketing program, sponsored by Blue Hornet. My name is Justin Bridigan. I'm with Marketing Sherpa, and I'll be hosting today's webinar. Now, we do have some housekeeping information and some introductions of some great presenters before we begin today's webinar. So with that, our presenters for today are Sergio Bolaño. He is the Director of Research at Marketing Sherpa at NECLAP's Primary Research. He's the lead author of the 2011 Email Marketing Benchmark Report. Now, Sergio, he researches, writes, and frequently speaks about Marketing Sherpa at summits and some professional training workshops, including some conferences and also some educational institutions, including Harvard. Our second speaker is Jeffrey Rice. He's a research analyst at Marketing Sherpa, and he focuses on email marketing. He's a contributing author of the 2011 Email Benchmark Report as well, and the lead author of the 2011 Email Handbook. He also helps in our e-newsletter as a columnist. Now, Ryan Phelan is a Vice President of Strategic Services for Blue Hornet, where he works with numerous companies to help them realize the potential with their email programs. Ryan has over 13 years of online marketing experience, and he most recently served as Director of Email Marketing and Acquisition at Sears Holdings. We have some great presenters today here for you, and we'd like to encourage you today to join the conversation with us on Twitter, the hashtag SherpaWebinar. We will be monitoring that, so feel free to ask us some of your questions, and also don't forget you can use your GoToWebinar question box that we have there for you, so we'll be also monitoring those questions. Also, I'm asked this quite a bit throughout the presentation. I'll go ahead and let you know we will be recording this slide presentation, and we will send that to you in a follow-up email tomorrow. So with that, I'll turn the time over to Sergio to begin our presentation.
Thank you very much, Justin. And I think I have control of the keyboard now, maybe not. Well, while we're waiting for the screen to advance, welcome everyone again to Increasing the Strategic Value of Your Email Marketing Program with Blue Hornet. What I'm going to do as soon as the screen changes, there we go, is set the stage for today's webinar with a quick review of how our email marketing research is conducted and contributes to our handbooks and webinars and other training methods. We're going to talk about the 3 phases of email marketing maturity and the results we received in our benchmark survey from those. And we're going to talk about the top challenges facing email marketers today, which Jeff Rice is going to then take over and talk about the best practices. He's going to detail those best practices for overcoming the email marketing challenges that marketers are facing. Then Ryan's going to take it from there to talk about the processes to help you move from the transitional to the strategic or mature phases of email marketing maturity. So first, a little bit about our research. As Justin mentioned, we recently conducted the Email Marketing Benchmark Report for 2011, in which we find out what works and what doesn't for thousands of email marketers. And what we found this year was that email, because it's such a mature tactic, the improvements are no longer measured in large numbers. Improvements tend to be very incremental these days. But what we found was that marketers who were using multiple tactics were able to more successfully accelerate the performance of their email marketing programs. Once we complete something like the research, like the benchmark report, we then go on to the stage that Jeff Rice is in right now. He's actually in the final stages of developing the handbook to identify the best practices for email marketing and formulate a methodology to help you implement these programs more successfully. And he's going to give you a sneak peek today at his new LEAPS methodology, some of the elements of his LEAPS methodology for accelerating email performance. And then once we've done the research and we've identified the best practices and formulated the methodologies, then we go into the knowledge transfer mode where we teach email marketers how to apply these best practices. And we do this through webinars like today's, through online certification programs, live workshops across the country, and summits. And this is a continuous process. So when we've completed this knowledge transfer stage and we've listened to the reaction we're getting from email marketers about our practices, then we go and start the process all over again by conducting another benchmark report. So one of the things that we found about email marketing for the past year that both Jeff and Ryan are going to address in their presentations is that it takes an organization in the strategic phase, the most mature phase of email marketing maturity, to really get the accelerated performance that most marketers are seeking today. But as the chart shows, only 37% of marketers have reached this strategic phase. These are the ones that have a formal process with thorough guidelines that they routinely perform in their email marketing programs. Another half, or 49% of email marketers, have an informal process with only a few guidelines, and they sporadically perform these. Today, Jeff and Ryan are going to talk about the methods that you can use to get from that transition phase, that informal process phase, into the strategic phase to accelerate your email marketing programs. And so to understand what needs to be addressed in email marketing, you have to understand what the top challenges are. And what we found once again was that relevancy, or getting the right content to the right people at the right time, is the most significant challenge for email marketers to overcome today. We also found that list growth is increasingly difficult, but it's not impossible. When you combine a number of different tactics, you're able to get to that next level of list growth, and Jeff is going to talk to you a bit about that. Improving ROI. You can't win over the C-suite. You can't get the budgets that you need unless you start proving ROI, the value of email marketing. And Jeff is going to be talking to you about how to do that. Then making it into the inbox. Deliverability it's not as easy as it sounds because it combines some of the more complex marketing and technology issues to accomplish, but it is something that is worth doing and is essential in today's email marketing programs. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to hand this over to Jeff Rice, who's going to talk to you about best practices and a methodology for overcoming these challenges and accelerating email marketing performance in 2011. Jeff?
Oh, thanks, Sergio. Good morning to those on the West Coast. Good afternoon to those on the East Coast. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about, oh, looks like there's a little bit of delay. One of the first challenges to overcome is creating relevant communications to your target audience. And now, Ryan, feel free to jump in wherever you can add value to my slides. Definitely like this to be conversational. There's 3 components to creating a relevant email. 1 is content, 2 is segmentation, and the 3rd is real time. It's all about sending the right message at the right time to the right person.
And I think that's more important now than ever. Everybody's being very selective about what they get in the inbox and how they use that content.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the best ways to overcome this challenge is to create contagious content. The way I think about it is it's like a bag of laid potato chips. You just can't eat one and you want to share it with all your friends. So the one thing the first step that I advise is take a look at all the inventory you currently have inside your company and where it should go inside the marketing and sales pipeline. Look through websites, blogs, sales collateral, or publicity. And then once you have that, you can really determine what areas that you're short on content and really can focus on those. For me, there's 3 types of content creation: repurposed, user-generated, and original. The first one, repurpose, is my favorite because it's the easiest to implement. This is when you share highlights from analyst reports or extract quotes from executive interviews. Anything that you can just take that you've already worked hard on and just slightly tweak to make it more targeted for your audience. It's a great tactic to take.
You know, sometimes people even have gone back to earlier versions of their website to find old content that maybe doesn't fit in now, but with a little bit of tweaking they can reuse. So that's one tactic that actually works very well, is to look at not only the inventory you have currently, but what do you have in the past that maybe isn't being used anymore.
Excellent point. User-generated. If today, if the brand is in the hands of the consumer, why not use their words, pictures, and thoughts? As you monitor your company's electronic footprint, you'll most likely find blog posts, tweets, or maybe even YouTube videos about your company and products that would be interesting to your email subscribers. As you know, people value their fellow consumers' opinions more than they do the brand's. Original content is the toughest, but it can be the most rewarding because you can go ahead and repurpose it afterwards for many more ways. Unfortunately, it is a lot more work, and what I've seen is editorial calendars can be a real aid in forcing your marketing team to churn out new content on a continual basis that not only your customers want, but also it meets the objectives of your marketing calendar, whether it be, special events or just your regular business cycles.
And especially with the increase in social media, people are generating tons of content out there. So partnering with those divisions to create content that everybody can use.
Definitely. In addition, I mean, if your company's in a good position coming out of this economic downturn, if they can either assign somebody to be a brand journalist or hire a brand journalist for your company, that's a terrific way, because a journalist has a unique skills to find and tell your company's human interest stories that, being an insider, you may overlook. The other one that I see growing is the adoption of gaming. The Entertainment Software Association states that 70% of America's heads of households play computer games, with the average gamer being 34. And what goes into a successful game is a well-constructed game that has transparent rewards for each point a player earns, and when a player meets a certain threshold, they move on to the next level. So if you can build in that gaming mentality into your communications, it'll be more engaging for your audience.
That's a great point.
The second part of creating relevancy is to segment your data. I mean, remember, a person is not the same person as they were when they signed up for your list. They may have changed jobs, developed new tastes, or even had a baby. The only way to keep track of these changes is to maximize your database. And we all know data drives email segmentation. So you need to look throughout your entire company to try to find more data, both online and offline. You can look at your IT departments, your customer service, finance, but you want to try to get as much data as possible. And there's 4 types of data. There's endemic data, and that's the kind that has one truly unique to a particular record. It's like your contact information or demographic or geographic information. Transactional data is the data pertaining to transactions that your opt-in has had with your brand. They're usually financial, but they can also sometimes include an IP address. Now behavioral, that one's easy. What did your subscriber do? Email? Did they visit a website? Did they attend a webinar? Did they read your? Those are the type of data that you're searching for. Computed data is the outcome when one or more of these variables is used to create a third. So for example, if you want to figure out how far does one of your subscribers live from your brick and mortar store, that's an example of computed data. And then finally, real-time communications. Oops, went too far. Basically, real-time communications is you always send your best messages at the right time for the person in their sales cycle. But there's other ways to accomplish this, and one is through trend jacking. This is when you use the content in your emails to talk about weather conditions, an upcoming Super Bowl event or Daytona 500, or even a royal wedding. So any big story that's going on right now, your customer is already aware of it, so when they see something that they have a chance to learn more about, they'll open your email.
Jeff, that's a perfect point. We saw a lot of that, I think, with email and the storms that hit the East Coast. There were a lot of retailers that took advantage of that event and were nimble enough to move very quickly to put out a message that spoke to their brand. I got actually an email from a dog sitting place in Chicago that says it's cold outside, but here's some things you can do. I mean, it's examples of people paying attention to relevancy through real-world conditions.
Oh, absolutely. I live on the East Coast too, and my insurance company actually sent me a how-to of how to break up ice dams on my roof. And obviously not trying to sell insurance, I'm probably trying to save money, but I thought that was a really nice thing to do as a service for their customers.
Yeah.
So that leads into another, just want to do a quick case study in which they used all 3 of these tactics to be successful. The El Dorado Hotel and Casino, obviously they're a casino, and they watched their weather forecast diligently. In early December, there was a snowstorm that called for several feet of snow just west of Reno, where they're located. And a lot of their customers come from California, so the storm had a potential to drastically cut hotel bookings. So what they decided to do was to turn the snowstorm into an opportunity. They came up with a great deal. For $69, you get two lift tickets and a night stay. And so with this great offer, they decided to target their skiers and snowboarders on their lists. They decided to integrate the entire promotion with both pay-per-click ads, texting, and social media. And of course, they sent an email. And the thing about this is they sent the email as soon as the storm was over. So when people were digging out in their driveways, they thought, hey, how can I have fun with all this new snow? And they had a great result. The team sold 28% more ski packages in December than the rest of the year combined. Okay, let's move on to another challenge that marketers are having today, and that's building quality lists. So if you think about just starting with your customer, your current customer, that's the first place to start. And we all know that as marketers today, we don't have tight control over our brand anymore. It lives and breathes with the consumers and how they choose to interact. One area what we do have control over is be selective in who we empower to become evangelists. Email is commonly used to communicate a company's best offer. So let's keep the list exclusive. Strive to only talk to or make the list of only people that you want to have a conversation with. The best way to do that is to set clear expectations for both you and your customer. Tell them what and when you are going to deliver. And if they agree, keep your promise. Don't send anything else. If they sign up for a newsletter, don't send them anything else. And also, again, because consumers are always changing, ask them to update their preferences often. And when you do, give them an option to opt down or pause in subscription. An opt down can include reducing the frequency, types of offers, and I suggest even including social media, because if you lose them as an email subscriber, if you can maintain them in the social media realm, you can still talk to them.
Opt-down is a great strategy. We've seen a lot of people talking about it and looking into doing that and changing the conversation when somebody wants to opt out, because the quality of lists has kind of started to take precedence over the quantity. Right? It's not just about having 15 million names on your email list. It's about having names that actually perform, that actually are interested, that are actually interactive.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to lose people off that list, because a huge list, if it's not has quality consumers on it, you want to cut it down. So when you're asking people to update their preferences, also there's times when you're going to want to ask them to, if they really want to be part of your list anymore, and opt out. One of our writers, Adam Sutton, he wrote about how the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra cut their list by 95%, but they doubled their sales online.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know how comfortable I'd be with that, but it worked for them. As long as you have the revenue to back it up, right?
Yep.
For new customers, it has to just be kind of habitual, where you ask. You always ask, and ask all the time. Doesn't matter if it's on your email signature, if it's on your business card, your sales collateral, or even on your products. Be creative, be boring, but just ask. And when you do, ask to be short and sweet. And so they say, practice what you preach. So here goes it. This is a QR code, which stands for a quick response code. It's a two-dimensional barcode that can be read by your smartphone. So if any of you have a QR code app on your phone, you can scan this code, and it'll take you directly to Marketing Sherpa's landing page to register for our newsletter.
I travel a lot. Yeah, I've seen these. I travel a lot, and in Denver there are 3 huge QR codes for people to scan to download a game, but that gives you the opportunity to opt into communication with the company. And so there's actually a couple places in DIA that have it. It's really cool to see, and they're larger than life. They're about 8 foot tall.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, again, as mobile phones become more popular, and just the way these can be put on billboards or on products, I think we're going to see a lot more of these. So, of course, you need to offer incentives. And for B2C companies, that usually comes in the form of sweepstakes or coupons. In the B2B world, it's usually e-books or white papers. But the key to success for both of them is exclusivity. We all want to be part of an exclusive club, and the more ways that marketers can find ways to create that environment for their customers and prospects, the better off they'll be. And I encourage you to build off current trends. Remember, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And in this example, this is actually a Marketing Sherpa 2011 Best Email Growth Campaign by Dingo. What they did is they kind of built off the trend of Groupon. So they offered a $20 coupon for their store if they received 5,000 likes on Facebook. Once the milestone was reached, the only way that the person that liked the Facebook page was going to get the $20 coupon was if they signed up for their email newsletter, and that's how they'd receive the coupon. was a win-win for both the Facebook page and the newsletter list. And then once they hit that 5,000 mark, they bumped it up to 25,000. So as of right now, they're trying to get 25,000 likes to do similar promotion.
It's a great example of how to have a multi-channel capture strategy, right? And we encourage a lot of people to look at Facebook as an acquisition tactic, to create widgets to put on Facebook to capture those email names and to to really use that as an acquisition tool. And using sweepstakes, if you do it in the right way, can actually pay off in a really profitable endeavor.
Now, have you seen exclusivity to be that much more successful than the average campaigns for your clients?
I think that exclusivity, right? So you want somebody to join your email list that wants to be there. You don't just want them to sign up to get the prize. And so you make the prize relevant to the customer set. You're not just giving away $1 million, because everybody will sign up for $1 million. But if you give away a $20 gift certificate, or if you give away something of value to your product, you get that quality person signing up and interacting with your brand because they're interested in the prize. It's not just a freebie, right? And so make the sweepstakes that you offer, make the prize that you offer of value to your customers, not just a value to everyone.
I think that's an excellent point. Okay, let's move on to quantifying email with return on investment. Now, the one thing I love about email is all the metrics it gives you. Whether it be the open rates or the click-throughs, they give you that instant feedback that, I don't know, as a marketer, I crave.
Mm-hmm.
However, as marketers, sometimes we get caught up in the numbers and we forget the purpose. Email is so commonplace now that we employ the tactic without always thinking through the strategy. And when that happens, I compare it to pouring red wine without having a glass to hold it. So instead, I'd like to encourage the audience to ask deeper questions. What's the intended outcome of the email, and where should it be placed in the stage, in which stage of the marketing and sales funnel? The first step is to look at the placement in your path to purchase and determine where the email messages are going to have the greatest impact on your firm's objectives. So again, go back into your company's files and look at all the collected data, whether it be the web analytics, the CRM, the social CRM, customer profiles, so you can figure out their buying habits. And with that information, you'll be able to identify and segment niches where relevant conversations have the potential to move the customer further down the marketing and sales pipeline. Now, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I've seen in the last year or so, marketing automation processes have become a critical component of both B2B and B2C companies. You know, businesses that invest the time to document rules and processes for lead scoring, nurturing, and management to move prospects through each stage of the buying process are gaining resources and efficiency and generate more revenue.
Oh, yeah, because everybody's constrained with time, resources, and money. And if you can automate a program, just like you automate your welcome program, that's one less campaign that you have to launch out on a manual basis. So the more companies can get to marketing automation and doing all those things automatically, let the systems do them, the easier your job becomes. I like to call it free money when you automate a program and it just makes money, it makes revenue, right? Or it accomplishes a goal. It's just, you know, you set it up once and you get to watch that revenue come in automatically. Oh,
that's true. And some of the best examples in the email are those triggered messages, such as the welcome, the transactional, the cart abandonment. I mean, people get great return implementing those. And then the reactivation campaigns that just, again, automatically go out. So the more that we can proactively place email in the pipeline and implement these marketing automation tactics, I think it's going to be easier for marketers out there to have a greater impact, not only on the email campaigns, but the entire corporate marketing strategy. Oh
yeah, Jeff. I mean, these are what I would see as part of the foundational programs that a company should have. I mean, these are once they're implemented, these are ways to take care of your customer, to serve their needs, and to meet a need that the customer may have. And so putting these into place is a win for everybody.
Excellent. Okay, this is the one that everyone, well, at least at the Marketing Sherpa, everyone was coming up and asking me questions about, deliverability. Yep. And here's this really scary stat from Return Path. 20% of email goes undelivered. 4% is classified as junk. 16% just goes missing. How does that happen? Well, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, well, it's just not like the post office with the return to sender. The good news is that there are third-party vendors out there that can provide inbox placement rates. Now, reputation is the biggest factor in determining if emails are going to get delivered. The ISPs will determine this for you. There's a lot of things that you can't control, but there are 4 factors that are in the control of marketers today. Number 1 is list hygiene. Number 2 is engagement. Number 3 is complaint. And number 4 is sending permanence. And just like in life, a good reputation takes a lifetime to build, but it can be torn down in a day. So you need to really be conscious of these. So list hygiene. Earlier we talked about building quality lists over quantity to ensure that marketers have happy customers opening our emails and not clicking the spam or delete buttons. We need to continuously monitor subscribers' activity and make sure that they really like us. And when you do that, you're going to find people that aren't as engaged as you'd like to see. So one great tactic is to implement win-back campaigns. And this is when you send out to a subscriber that hasn't opened or clicked on your email in, say, I don't know, a quarter. It all depends on your company. And give them a little incentive to re-engage, whether it be a coupon. You don't want it to be too great because you don't want to just decide to get the free coupon, but you want to show a gesture that you do care about them.
Win-back campaigns are great strategies. I actually touch on that here in a little bit, but it's a great automated campaign that can help recapture those customers that have fallen away and try and find out why they fall away, right? And re-engage that relationship, start it over, kind of like the Control-Alt-Delete of the relationship, right?
Oh, definitely. And then this is what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you're going to need to confirm that somebody wants you to be still be on your list. And this is that Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra that's pictured here. And notice that the buttons are really blunt. Yes or no, would you like to be part of our email campaign? And sometimes you need to send those out. And then when you do get the people that don't want to be part of your email program, or if they hit the spam button, get rid of those people as quickly as possible and delete the dead wood in your campaigns.
We see more and more that inactive, sending to inactives is problematic for deliverability. And I think the trend is starting to turn to mark those consumers as inactive and stop sending to them because the major ISPs are starting to penalize retailers and penalize companies for sending to those inactive customers.
It's good to know. Well, I mentioned earlier how important relevancy was for email effectiveness, but it's just as important with deliverability. I mean, just look at its impact. Start with contagious content. It increases your open and click rates. It improves your sender reputation, reduces spam detection, and improves your deliverability. Because just in the last year, some of the webmail providers have drastically changed the game on us. They're adding new features to filter email based on engagement. Gmail's priority box is probably the number one most talked about, but just Hotmail and Yahoo have all implemented engagement filters. So they basically watch a subscriber's engagement. They watch if the message has been read then deleted, or if the messages are deleted without even being read, and the messages that are replied to. And those all go into, their tools to help. They're all tools to help the subscriber manage their inbox, but they just add one more hurdle for marketers out there.
Yeah, the ISPs are positive. The ISPs are helping email marketers become more relevant and reinforcing the fact that relevancy is important. It's something to be thinking about in every campaign you do. It's not just about batch and blast anymore.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. You can look at it as a great opportunity to stand out. And then lastly, keep your IP address the same. Spammers are famous for switching. So, if you have a bad reputation, switching IP address isn't going to solve your problem. After 4 months, you'll be back in the same spot. And then, like I mentioned earlier, whenever you get complaints, spams, complaints in your feedback loop, just remove them immediately. That can be true of hard bounces and unsubscribers as well. Okay, and lastly, everybody's talking about social media and smartphones and the integration of email. So we definitely want to touch on that today. Again, a lot of people are debating, is social media going to kill email? Optimists are looking at the success of Groupon and saying how wonderful it is. The pessimists out there are looking at Facebook and saying, oh, well, look at messages. Now customers can talk just to their friends by their preferred communication vehicle, whether it be text, instant message, or email. But I'd rather focus on the positive. One of the most positive things is that the audience growth. Social networking can empower your email marketing efforts to go beyond the inbox. And it also, I think it's less risky for people to give up an email address as it is to click a like or a follow on the social media. And just by having them getting regular messages from your company, you can start the conversation. It may not be as advanced as email, but the conversation is starting. And anytime that you start a conversation, you get closer and closer to convergence. Incorporating the customer's voice. As an email marketer, I think we've all prided ourselves on email being a two-way communication. The email content is now shared and discussed in real time on social networking sites without delay. And all those endorsements, reviews, and ratings can be captured and used as content in your email message. So the tone of your emails are much more in line with your core audiences, and they have a bit more human touch and can reflect a little bit more of your brand's personality in them. I think clarity through competition. The more tools that we as marketers have, the more selective we can be in how we use them. So for many brands, they're finding that they'll carry a more formal conversation in their email communications, and social media will be more of their entry-level offers. But each company is going to find their way. But I would just like to focus on the differences that each provides and how a company can take advantage of it. And then smart preparation. Any of the marketers out there that are wear many hats and serve many masters, they're going to having to write in 140 characters has prepared you for the eventual shift from desktops to mobile smartphone screens with a lot less room to write. B2B marketers have been facing this for a while with trying to write emails for the BlackBerry, but I think now it's a little more across the board. So here's a stat from Nielsen Company. Smartphones are obviously, the adoption rate is happening a lot quicker than I think anybody expected. And that's going to actually have a lot of positive, will create new challenges and create new opportunities for companies out there.
Yeah, I think the adoption rate actually is going to skyrocket now with Verizon selling iPhone, right? That's a whole new market of people that have wanted that device but have been waiting for it to come to their carrier. So the adoption rate, I think it's going to be kind of fun to watch what the adoption rates are in the short term and what Verizon releases as far as number of customers that have migrated or switched or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's just amazing now that you see people start playing with geo-targeting messages.
Oh, the marketing and tactics behind sites and programs like Foursquare. The ability to market to somebody at the location and really bring another level to marketing communication and relationship.
Oh, absolutely. It does bring up a couple of challenges for us as marketers. You know, we still need to provide an enjoyable mobile experience when they're viewing our emails. So here's a couple helpful hints. Most of the time that when we send email offers, the links go to another website. So if you can optimize your website or your landing page to be viewed on mobile, that's great. Definitely try to research more about your customers. Try to figure out what type of smartphones they're using. An easy place to start is with your email service provider. They may be able to provide those stats for you. Other options are to look into your website analytics, and then also, you know, ask for it on your preference page of your sign-up list to try to get that data. The one thing about all the changes that always happen, try not to get overwhelmed and try to perfect it, because we're all in the same boat where it's all a learning curve, and you don't want to let yourself fall behind because it's not perfect.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity to test over and over and over again. And not ad nauseum, right? You don't want to test forever, but you do want to test what the interaction is like and what resonates with your customer, because it's going to be different at every company. It's going to be different with every type of product that you sell or interaction. So it's really about testing what your consumers prefer.
Oh, absolutely. And that even goes through these, you know, some of the tips here. There are really no standards all across email clients for the different devices out there. But some of the things that you can do is, you know, narrow your emails width to make them smaller, increase the font size, add space around the links. For people with fat fingers like me, makes it easier to touch the links. Obviously, be brief as possible. And again, back to your point, Ryan, preview and test over and over again to find out what works.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, I think I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. So let's talk about, we've spent a little time talking about the programmatic view of moving from trial to strategic, right? And changing how we do email marketing and how we implement programs. But let's take another look. Let's take a look at really how does that mindset change? How do you have to change your mindset? Because it's not only about the types of programs that you implement. It's really about how you think and how you interact with your superiors, your team within your company. And so want to take a look at a couple different things. Number one, executive perception and funding. Really, we talk about time, resources, and money. We talk about that's some of the challenges that marketers have in addition to the stuff we've covered. So how do we really change that perception? Current program optimization, new programs, internal visibility, how do you increase that? Multi-channel partnership and vendor partnership. So really it's about thinking differently. And I love this logo from Apple and really this motto, because that's what has propelled them into success, is thinking differently. And so that is what marketers also have to start doing to get from that trial phase through transition to strategic. So we look at this slide, and we covered this in the beginning of the presentation. And what I found surprising as well in the study from Marketing Sherpa is that it correlated directly to how executives perceive email marketing from a funding perspective and an attention perspective. If you're in the strategic phase, you're 2x more likely, about 2x more likely, to liberally increase marketing budgets, email marketing budgets. But if you're in that trial and transition phase, then you're not likely. Executives are more likely to believe that email is free, and they intend to keep it that way. So it's not only about putting in it's not about putting in programs, and that's a very important thing, right? We want to focus on that, but we want to start to change the mindset within the organization. So let's look at current program optimization. So when we come into our programs, when we look at them honestly, we want to look at all of our programs that we have in place, our welcome, our promotional, our win-back if we have that in place. We want to look at a programmatic view to see how those are performing, not just the email program overall, but what are the pieces. And so it's very important to look at all those programs based upon the KPIs that they produce. Critically evaluate how those are executed. You know, if you were going to rate your program, how would you rate that program? How would you rate your welcome email? Does it need work? Is it perfect? Does it perform the best? What do we need to do to change that? We find a lot of interactions with companies where we come in and we talk to them about, hey, you know, we need to work on the things that you have running because there's some things that could be optimized. So after you've taken a look at that, prioritize those, both from a level of effort and what is it going to produce? What's the effectiveness based on when you optimize it? What's it going to produce? How good is that going to increase your program or increase your customer interaction? And then publicize those results. If you make a change and you see an increase, make sure you tell people about it. Make sure you get excited about it. That's how to really tell people what's going on within your program, is to talk about the successes. As far as new program definition, Jeff, I'm sure you can. Some of this list resonates with you as well. There's a lot of things that you can do within your email program, and when you think about all the possibilities, it could be overwhelming. All the new things you could do, there are ideas everywhere, and so how do you pick those, right? And it's tough just to pick one or two, right?
It is, especially when you lay them out like this.
It does. It gets really overwhelming. So when you're thinking about new programs that you can do, keep your expectations realistic and realize that it's not just about putting in a new program, but it's about making tweaks. It's about remembering the small wins at the same time. So I love this. Ryan Eric came out, and really when we talk about thinking about new programs, we think about brainstorming sessions and really just throwing things up on the board, no matter how ridiculous they may be, right? We want to think of new things to do and new ways to have our company interact with our customers. And so Ryan Eric came out, and a company had invented a stand-up chair for an airplane. Now, I travel a lot. I know for certain that I wouldn't ever entertain this idea. But Ryan Eric came out and said, this is great. We're gonna think about trying this. And it's those kinds of ideas that spawn profitability, or they spawn new customer interactions, right? And not all of them you're going to implement. You may throw a ton of ideas on the board, but you may not implement them all. So you want to map out your existing programs, and you want to overlay that with what you have new, right? Based upon how it contributes to relevancy, how it contributes to lifetime value, because that's really how we want to measure the effectiveness of a program, is how does it really come to life, and how does it work with the customer's focus, as well as ROI, right? What's the level of effort that it involves? What is the effectiveness based on the optimization? What are the existing programs that we want to put in place? Prioritize all of those, all your new programs based upon what you have in place. And then take those things that you want to do and develop a testing program, a one-off testing program that will allow you to see what the success of it is going to be based upon what your hypothesis is. We talked a lot at the Marketing Sherpa show as well about a lot of things that marketers could do, and we've spent a good amount of time on this call talking about new programs. Test those. Make sure that they work, they resonate with your customer, and that you can see what the success is, and publicize those.
All good points, Ryan.
Yeah. So a new program. We worked with snagajob.com. They are an hourly website. They do hourly jobs. Great website out there, and they appeal to that very specific market that's looking for that $9, $10, $12 an hour job, right? And so they came to us and they said, here's our challenge. We've got a large number of inactives. We talked about win-back earlier in the presentation. And this is an example of a new program, but we wanted to test its effectiveness first. So they had a large amount of inactive customers. And inactive for Snagajob actually means success in some respect, because if you're getting emails and you get a job, you're not going to get those emails anymore, right? So that is a lot of people that may be successful, but we wanted to see, you know, if they switch jobs, do they come back to us? Do they remember to come back to Snagajob, right? And so the challenge was, how do we reactivate those inactive customers based upon what we felt was maybe a time period where hourly workers would start to look for another job. And we started with 9 months. We said, after 9 months, let's look at these customers to see if we can reactivate them. So the solution for us was to manually test a win-back program. And we got 155,000 subscribers at that 9-month window. They haven't opened or clicked an email for 9 months. And we were going to deliver, the plan was, 3 content emails over 9 days. And I saw on Twitter one of the questions was, how much time do you, time with no interaction denotes unengagement? And it's different for every company. We chose 9 months based upon Snagajob's customer demographic and their behaviors. But every company is going to be different. So look at when that attrition happens, not only from a short perspective, but a long-term perspective. But also think about it this way. If your customer hasn't opened your emails in 3 months, 6 months, do you really want to send to them? Are they really engaged, right? So you want to think about the real-world application of sending an email to somebody that hasn't opened it in a long period of time. So here's what the program looked like. We started with no activity for 9 months, no opens or clicks, and we sent them 3 emails. Now remember, Snagajob isn't selling anything besides a future, besides a job. And so they've got no 10% off. They've got no free shipping. So what we did is deliver 3 pieces of content, articles, right, to these people. And we started with this 155,000. On day 1, we sent them an email talking about the fastest growing jobs that they can have, right? We looked at the motivators. Why would somebody look for a job? What made them start to look for another job? And so day 6, if they didn't open or click, day 6 they got an email that says 5 difficult bosses and how to deal with them, right? Because we thought, okay, people may leave a job because their boss is bad. And the 3rd email that somebody would get if they didn't open or click was how to have fun at your job, because we thought if somebody's going to start looking for a job, maybe they just want to have fun. So we delivered that email, right? And if people didn't open or click through that whole experience, we wanted to mark them as inactive and not mail to them anymore, to cut down on deliverability concerns, to cut down on quite a bit of stuff. So we marked them as inactive. But what was the result, right? This is a manual test based upon a new program that we want to eventually automate. The result, 10% of that 155,000 activated because of the emails we sent. That was something that I literally jumped around the office and did handsets and somersaults. And I was like, woo, look at this. This is great. And I got people to notice that this was our achievement. This was our success. Out of 155,000, 15,000 came back and started looking for jobs, activated off of those emails, right?
Awesome.
So next, internal visibility. How do we internally get people to notice us, right? If we're going to change the mindset, if we're going to think differently, we want to increase the internal visibility within our organization. We want to publish reports. We want to develop a testing schedule ahead of time and publicize that. Go beyond subject line testing, right? Have different types of tests for every campaign that you do, or once a month or once a week, right? And publicize that. Publish it and say, hey, here's what we're going to do from a strategic standpoint to drive our program forward. Start giving the perception and acting the perception that you're on top of it. You're really innovating, right? Hold meetings with stakeholders and other departments on a quarterly and yearly basis. Organize seminars and meetings, right, for an hour a month to teach people about email marketing. What's the latest thing? What's the latest trend? What's the latest article that you've read? And here's how we can help in a multi-channel perspective. Publicize your wins very loudly, right? Do the somersaults through the hallway when you have successes. And keep your boss and their boss in the know. Make sure that they know about your program. Multi-channel partnership. We have a lot of companies that have social media, mobile, website. Work with those divisions to help them achieve their goals. And through that, you can raise the visibility of your program. And finally, vendor partnership. All vendors want successful clients. So pick up your phone, schedule a meeting, talk to your strategist at your vendor, and say, how can I do better? What am I missing? What would the results be? How can they help you sell an idea within your organization? From a platform functionality, what aren't you using that's available to you? Pick up the phone, call your vendor, say, hey, what am I not doing? What am I not using? What can I use more of? These are things that are sitting right in front of you that you can take advantage of, and vendors are more than happy to help you with that. And with that, I'm going to turn it back.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you, everyone, especially this is some great content. As you can imagine, we have quite a few questions to go through it. These last couple minutes, we'd definitely like to get to some of these. But first, I wanted to remind everyone, especially the webinar attendees, that we do have the email benchmark report available for a special discount, and we're courtesy of Blue Hornet. So make sure that if you haven't already, take advantage of this. And with that, let's go ahead and get to some questions now. The first one is actually for Jeff. And it's from Eric, and he says, do you have any more examples of interactive games being used to build email lists?
Actually, yes. I'm going to show where I live and what team I root for. But the Boston Celtics, they actually have a Facebook page. It's actually a game called 3-Point Play, in which they invite their fans to participate in this game, in which they try to predict who the top 3 scorers are going to be for each game. And to play this interactive game, to win prizes, you have to give up some information, which includes your email address as well as your age, so they can kind of qualify you, to send you information for game tickets or merchandise. So, and there was a blog written on this recently, and it all turned out because, I don't know, the Celtics had like 50,000 fans on Facebook, but they didn't know anything about them. So they decided to create a game, and last season they started this, and they've actually garnered a lot of qualified leads, because obviously if you follow the Celtics close enough to guess on how much each player is going to score, you're a pretty engaged fan. So I encourage you to check out the Boston Celtics fan page and check out the 3-Point Play game.
Thanks, Jeff. That actually reminds me, I know at the summit there was a speaker that actually talked about, I think it was a hockey team, and they had mentioned using, the holidays as a way to kind of interact with the fans, being able to put their own pictures in and send out invites as well. So yeah, definitely using games can build those email lists. Ryan, I've got an attendee who wants to ask you this question. Of the strategies discussed, what would you say are some of the easy wins for email marketers?
Oh gosh, easy wins I would have to say is looking at your attrited customers. So from a win-back perspective, right? If we talk about just like the case study, testing those out in that's really just 3 campaigns launched on different days. So it's pretty simple to execute that and implement it. I would also say some of the quick wins are realistically are 2 things. Not only within your own program, so optimize what you have, because a lot of things that we see in the marketplace are broken or need optimization. So look at your own programs for what you can change and what you can make better, but then look to the easy things like a cart abandonment. There are some potential vendors and partnerships out there to get that done, not only with your vendor, right? Win-back programs and social media. How do you capitalize on social media and the ability to market to those people in a different way? If you can identify somebody that shares content, you want to be able to market to those, and that's a big win. That's not a program. That's just a train of thought.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And, you'd mentioned, testing and doing that as well. It's with that testing that you're able to find out where your, revenue is leaking, right? And so, when you have that ability to test and figure out what's going on, like you said, the abandonment in the carts and all the different things, there's opportunities there. It could be right where it is. So,
yep.
For sure.
Totally agree.
This question's open to Jeff or Ryan or Sergio as well. It's a question that came on Twitter. It says, do you have any subject line suggestions for win-back campaigns? You guys had discussed, winning back campaigns, and someone wants to know what would be some good subject line suggestions.
So there's for retail. Let's focus on retail for a second. So there's two trains of thought in a very simple campaign, right? So the first email can be, "We miss you." Or come back, or we've changed, or something to that effect. That email is a non-offer-based email that allows the marketer to try and just get people that have stopped interacting, right? And the second one is, we value your if they were a customer, if they purchased, we value your presence or whatever that is, right? And then have 10% off. Remember, keep it short, sweet, to the point. The third one is a value-based. Put it in this subject line. If they're going to activate on a win-back program, they're going to activate on the subject line. So keep it short, keep it very effective and telling of what is in the email. And the second set, you could replace the "we miss you" with just another value statement, another discount. But always kind of reinforce what they've done in the past, if they were a subscriber, if they were a purchaser.
Right. Try to have that, that relationship. Again, you're using that to build that relationship. And I know it's been mentioned before, find those pain points, right? Find those opportunities where, people definitely are going to relate to what you're talking about in there. Is any other comments, Jeff or Sergio, that you have on subject lines?
I think Ryan did an excellent job of.
All right, perfect. Well, we've definitely got a lot of questions coming in, and we're not we're out of time right now to get to those questions. But I want to encourage everyone to continue to ask them. They can do it by email, they can do it via Twitter. We will try and answer those questions as well. But again, I just want to thank all of our speakers today for sharing their marketing insights and all this great content with us. And with that, we'll close this. So thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much.